You are listening to the Break Time Tech Talks podcast, a bite-sized tech podcast for busy developers, where we'll briefly cover technical topics, news snippets, and more in short time blocks. I'm your host, Jennifer Reif, an avid developer and problem solver with special interest in data, learning, and all things technology. By the time this is published, Nodes 2025 will be over, and many of the attendees, staff, and speakers will probably still be feeling the after effects of the adrenaline rush. This time of the year is also somewhat tricky because I am wrapping up commitments and goals for 2025 while also still preparing for content and goals for 2026. It's exciting and very busy. It is also probably my favorite time of the year because I can accomplish a few final things for the year, take a bit of a breath, and prepare for exciting adventures that are coming in the next year, 2026. I wanted to highlight a couple of things from Nodes 2025 today. The first one is that I heard a great presentation from Luanne Misquitta about graphs and AI on a music graph. If you're not familiar with Luanne's work, she's done a ton of content and has been in the Neo4j community a long time. She's written a lot of blog posts, written books, and been featured at Nodes events and Neo4j events. I always really enjoy hearing her stuff and reading her content, but this one really spoke to me this year. First of all, it's on a music graph. So as a fellow music nerd, I definitely plan to dig into this a bit more. And apparently this project is also the focus of the latest book. So I hope to read that here soon as well. And also review the video that will be released on YouTube of this Nodes 2025 session here in a couple of weeks. This particular presentation, though, looked at piecing together similar tastes in music or recommend a playlist progression from one style to another. An extra bonus is that this application used Spring AI, which of course you know is near and dear to my heart. I definitely am excited to see a little bit more about this project, understand how it was constructed, and the cool things that you can do with AI, music, and graphs. Another session that stuck out to me was on RushDB. RushDB is an open source tool that uses Neo4j under the hood and offers a really nice interaction and import strategy and capabilities. I thought the presenter did a really great job showcasing the product and speaking. Everything was very casual and comfortable, and I just really enjoyed listening to this session and am really excited to learn more about RushDB and try some things out. Now, I will say there were tons of sessions that had varying degrees of speaking expertise, stages of project, and different types of companies and different industries. It was really cool to see all the different things that people are doing with graphs. And I must say, even those who were new to the space, new to graphs, or new to speaking even, I really admired their bravery. Nodes is, yes, a community event, but there are thousands of people that get online, watch the videos, or attend live. And for folks who are new to speaking and new to graphs, it took an incredible amount of bravery to speak and talk about their projects and what they are doing in the technology space. If you missed it, don't worry. All the recordings will be live on YouTube here in a couple of weeks. And actually, the keynotes are already available on the YouTube playlist. I will leave a link to those in the show notes, as well as links to the sessions that I called out here earlier from Luanne Misquitta and the one on RushDB. Also, to add another layer of excitement to this week, I spoke to a local 8th grade career class about developer advocacy. First of all, I love doing this type of thing. It's always fun to me to talk to students and young people and encourage them in whatever industry or career they might be looking into, showing them that there are lots of things you can do outside traditional job role descriptions, if you will. The class was really attentive and they asked a lot of great questions. Of course, they zeroed in on the world travel because that tends to be the shiny part of my job role. But they also asked about my day-to-day activities and how I balanced both personal and professional lives. I was really excited to share the adventures beyond traditional engineering roles, as well as my unique path to reach my career in technology. I mentioned a few weeks ago that I was working on a workshop project and I built an application with Spring AI, but I wanted to create a LangChain4j version of that application, but I couldn't because I was using a read-only database. At the time, LangChain4j required you to have write access to the database in order to create the vector index so that it could make sure it was there and do the vector search. At the time, it wasn't possible for me to use the read-only database that I was using and have a LangChain4j app. That issue is officially solved. I created a GitHub issue a couple weeks back when I had the problem at the first place, and someone created a PR and that got merged. I have yet to try this out, but I did review the PR changes and those look solid. So I'm really excited to test this out and build the LangChain4j version of the Spring AI app I already have. I will keep you posted on the updates to that and how that goes. I also will have some more updates coming soon on the various projects that I'm currently working on. I do have a couple of upcoming workshops that will be in December. I'll keep you posted on the topics and where you can join those if you are interested. Then I also have 2026 conferences lined up for pretty much all winter and spring. It's kind of odd and surreal to me that I already have pretty much the first half of 2026 lined up with my events already. But I'll talk through some of those as time moves along. Then I also worked on the Java book this week. I did a lot of focus on trying to get some things built out there, get some things accomplished in that project. And I'll also talk about in the future the applications I'm building and the topics that I'm exploring, either the end of this year, early into next year. The content pieces I want to highlight, first of all, Node's 2025 playlist. Obviously, I will leave that linked. Again, the only thing that's sitting out there right now are the keynotes, but definitely take a listen to those. There was some really fabulous content and super exciting insights there. I watched them at least once, and then I went back and watched pieces of them again, and I definitely will be doing that yet again in the future. And then, of course, the rest of the sessions will be available on that playlist as well here in the coming weeks. Then I also read a couple of really interesting blog posts on the Neo4j developer blog. The first one is that there is a new Graph Academy course for Aura Fundamentals. My colleague put a short blog post out about this course. Graph Academy has free self-paced online courses that you can work through. This one talks about Aura specifically, our database as a service product at Neo4j. It talks about the different tiers, the features, the tools, and etc. The blog post is short. It just gives the high-level highlights of what the course will cover. And then, of course, gives you a link to check out more information and to do that course on your own. The other blog post that I read was Solve Hard Graph Problems with Cypher 25. Our engineering department the last several months has been putting out some really great content, specifically blog posts, about how to use the new features in Cypher 25 or things that you couldn't do before that now you can in Cypher 25. This has been really exciting to me. I always like to learn more about Cypher, how I can get better at structuring my queries, and this particular blog post did not disappoint. It pulls up a challenge from the advent of code in 2021. If you're not familiar with the advent of code, it's daily challenges throughout all the month of December that stretch your coding capabilities and are just fun puzzles. If you want to learn more about that, I will link the Advent of Code website in the show notes as well. But this one pulled a particular day 12 challenge from the year of 2021. It's where they modeled submarine cave systems as a graph. They took a submarine cave system, pushed that into Neo4j, and modeled that in the graph database, which was cool. I've never seen this use case before. I find this really fascinating. The author walks through the blog post, though, that the solution to solve the problem in 2021 felt a little bit more like a workaround. He knew there was a solution when you went 7 hops deep in the graph. So he was able to piece that together and construct the result. But again, that felt more like a workaround rather than a natural analysis result. The difference between what was possible then and now is that it went from a different relationship requirement. Cypher used to require that you had a different relationship, which ensured that you would only traverse a particular path once, to now with Cypher 25, you can have repeatable elements, which allows you to traverse certain paths or relationships a specified number of times. Now, this larger search space could result in path explosion, but there is a function to help with that called all-reduce, which is applied during the traversal and ensures that the performance remains really high. The allReduce function will track the small cave visits during the traversal by building a small visited list. The condition then ensures that exactly one small cave can be visited twice and prunes the paths that violate this rule during the traversal. This is a massive improvement from the previous example in 2021 where you had to do post filtering. You would suck in all of the paths and traverse all of the paths, and then post filter the paths that didn't meet that requirement, that criterion. As you might imagine, pull in all those resources, drain the memory, and prune post filtering. The allReduce avoids that by keeping the possible paths to a minimum, dropping those unnecessary paths that you traverse as you move along in the query. It's been an exciting week. Nodes 2025 was packed with great sessions, and I'm still thinking about it all. On the project side, I'm happy that the LangChain4j read-only database issue that I mentioned before is updated. I'm looking forward to testing it out soon. I'll be back with updates on the new workshops and what's also coming up for 2026. In the meantime, thanks for listening and happy coding.